It's been more than a decade since Christopher Nolan's Inception hit theaters, and there's still one thing we're all debating. It all comes down to a single, tiny object, a spinning top. So, did it fall, or is it still spinning? Well, today we're going to dive headfirst into one of the biggest mysteries in movie history.
I mean, that's the big one, isn't it? Dream or reality? Is Dom Cobb finally home? Really, truly reunited with his kids? Or is he just lost in one last beautiful dream? To even get close to an answer, we have to look at everything, every single clue, every fan theory, and even what the man himself, Christopher Nolan, has to say about it all.
So, where does all this debate even come from? Well, it's completely intentional. Nolan gives us that absolutely nail-biting final shot of Cobb's totem, the little spinning top. You see it, it's spinning, it starts to wobble just a little, you think it's gonna fall, and then, bam, cut to black. He just leaves us hanging. He basically forces us to become the detectives and piece together the clues ourselves.
Okay, so before we can even start to unpack all this, we have to be crystal clear on the film's most important rule, the totem. A totem is this small, personal object that one of the dream sharers carries. It's their personal reality check. Their one surefire way to know if they're in their own reality or stuck in someone else's dream. It's basically their anchor, and it has some very, very specific rules.
But here's where things get really tricky. There's a huge difference between how Cobb's totem works and how pretty much everyone else's does. So take Arthur's loaded die, right? In the real world, it's weighted a certain way that only he would know. In someone else's dream, it would just be a normal, perfectly balanced die. So its special property is in reality. Cobb's top? It's the complete opposite. In reality, it's just a top. It spins, it falls over. Its unique physics-defying power, spinning forever, only happens in a dream. And believe me, this reversal is a massive problem.
So what does that actually mean? Well, think about it. If Cobb were trapped in a dream built by, say, Ariadne, she would create a world where a top does what tops do. It spins for a bit, and then it falls over. Because his totem is completely normal in the real world, it gives him zero protection, no clue at all, that he might be in a dream built by somebody else. This fundamental flaw in his method means that, honestly, even if we had seen the top fall, it still wouldn't be 100% proof that he was in reality. Okay, so with that huge flaw on the table, let's dive into the first major argument, the theory that Cobb is still dreaming. There are actually a ton of clues, some subtle, some not so subtle, woven all through the movie that suggest his happy ending is really just another layer of a very convincing illusion. First off, the totem itself. There's a huge rule, right? Only the owner should handle it, only the owner knows its secret. Well, Cobb's top used to be his wife Mal's. And then he goes and explains exactly how it works to Ariadne. That's a massive red flag. It breaks the totem's #1 rule. And then there's the whole escape from Limbo. Remember how Ariadne has to ride the kicks all the way up, level by level, to get out? But in the flashbacks of Cobb and Mal, they just seem to wake up directly into reality. It's a weird inconsistency that makes you wonder, did Cobb only go up one level, not all the way? Then you add in things like the Mombasa chase, where the walls are literally closing in on him in this impossible dreamlike way. Plus key lines that get repeated by different people. Suddenly the case that Cobb's reality has been unstable for a long, long time gets pretty strong.
And because he shared the totem secret, it opens up some really unsettling possibilities. If the secret isn't a secret anymore, could he be trapped inside a dream that Ariadne built? I mean, she knows how the top is supposed to behave. Or, to go even darker, what if Mal never really died? What if her suicide was just part of another dream and she's actually been the one pulling the strings all along? The broken totem rule makes these creepy scenarios totally plausible.
All right, so the dream case is pretty convincing. But let's flip the coin here. Because for all the clues that he's still dreaming, there is an equally powerful, and I'd argue maybe even more powerful case to be made, that Cobb is finally, truly awake and home.
And this argument starts with one of the most brilliant and popular fan theories out there. It suggests that maybe we've all been looking at the wrong object this whole time. What if Cobb's real totem, the true signpost for his reality, isn't the spinning top at all, but his wedding ring?
Okay, so check this out, because once you see it, you can't unsee it. First, the ring. Pay attention, and you'll notice Cobb only wears his wedding ring when he's in a dream. It's his connection to Mal. But in that final scene, his hand is bare, no ring. Then, the children. For the entire movie, he can never see their faces in his memories. But now he can. And get this, Nolan was so detailed he actually cast slightly older actors for the final scene and put them in different clothes, all to show us that real time has actually passed. And maybe most importantly, where's Mel? The rejection of his guilt, who shows up to sabotage literally every dream he has? She's gone. The world is stable, it's peaceful, it's normal. And yes, for that tiny split second we see it, the top is definitely clearly wobbling, it's losing steam, the laws of physics are back in charge. But you know what? After weighing all of this evidence, going back and forth, we come to the movie's real genius. What if trying to get a definite yes or no answer is completely missing the point? What if Nolan is playing a totally different game, shifting our focus away from the physics of the top and onto the psychology of his main character? Just think about that final moment. This is a guy whose entire existence for years has been a paranoid obsession, constantly needing to know if he's awake or asleep. He gets home, and what's his first instinct? To check. He spends the top. But then, he hears his kids call for him. And in that moment, something changes. He makes a choice. He just walks away from the top to hug them. He doesn't wait to see if it falls. He chooses them. He chooses his reality over the paranoia that has completely ruled his life. And you don't have to take my word for it. Christopher Nolan himself pretty much confirms this. He says that Cobb is in his own subjective reality and that he just doesn't care about the totem anymore. That right there is the heart of the ending. Cobb has found a reality that feels valid and real to him. And at that moment, that's all that matters. The objective truth of it all just became irrelevant to him. And this choice is so powerful because it's the exact opposite of what happened to his wife, Mal. That one little idea that Cobb planted in her head, your world is not real, it completely shattered her. It made her distrust everything, to the point where she couldn't accept her own beautiful life. She was consumed by doubt. At the end of the film, Cobb does the opposite. He chooses to trust what feels real. He embraces the life that's right there in front of him, and in doing so, he finally beats the very same paranoia that destroyed Mal. So this all leads us to the film's biggest, deepest question. And it's not really about Cobb anymore. It's about us. What actually makes our reality real? I mean, how do any of us truly know that what we're experiencing right now isn't just some incredibly elaborate long-form dream? You know how it is. The movie keeps reminding us that when you're in a dream, it feels completely and totally real. The joy is real. The terror is real. Those feelings are authentic. Like Cobb says, it's only when we wake up that we realize something was actually strange. The film is suggesting that, at the end of the day, the only reality we can ever know for sure is the one that's filtered through our own perceptions and our own feelings.
But hold on, just when we get comfortable with that nice, subjective idea, Nolan pulls the rug out from under us again. He's also said in interviews that the reason we, the audience, cares so much about whether the top falls is because deep down, we instinctively know that objective reality does matter. You can't just transcend it. You can't just live in a dream forever. There are real consequences.
And the movie shows us exactly why that's true. Reality is rich and messy because we aren't in control of everything. We can be surprised and even amazed by other people. But in a dream, you might be a god, but you're a lonely one. You're trapped with your own subconscious, your own guilt, your own baggage. The characters who choose to live in a shared dream world are basically presented as escapists, trading the chaos of real life for a comfortable, predictable illusion. And this brings us to a really beautiful metaphor at the heart of the film. The whole plot is driven by this intense fear of someone else getting inside your mind, planting an idea, and controlling your world from the inside out. Well, isn't that just a stand-in for a really universal human fear? The fear that we're just living out someone else's dream for us, living up to someone else's idea of what our reality is supposed to be. So, in the end, Inception leaves us with these two powerful truths that seem to contradict each other. On one hand, yes, there is an objective, real world out there. It matters, and it has consequences you can't just ignore. But at the exact same time, your experience of that reality is always going to be subjective. It's always filtered through your own mind. So the only reality you can ever really act on is the one that rings true to you. You know that line they repeat throughout the film, "Take a leap of faith"? It's not just about jumping off a building to wake up. It's really a call to action for all of us. We can analyze the clues and second-guess ourselves forever, but at some point you just have to make a choice.
You have to take that leap of faith and commit to the reality you've chosen for yourself, the life that feels the most real and meaningful to you. And that's exactly what Cobb finally does.
And really, that's the ultimate takeaway. The film brilliantly turns the question right back on us. It forces us to ask, what is the core idea, the inception, that shapes my own perception of the world? Whether Cobb's top fell or not is a fantastic puzzle, for sure. But the more important question is the one we each have to answer for ourselves every single day.